Aloha buddies, it's Concert Buddy. This week's video is talking about some recent vinyl finds I have added to my collection, including something I've been looking for a long time. What is it? Cue it after the break. Let's go. All right, buddies, before we get to the nitty-gritty of these vinyl finds, I wanted to share two quick housekeeping pieces. First is, if you haven't done already, hit the like, the dislike, the subscribe button, all that kind of housekeeping stuff. If you're new to the channel, I sincerely appreciate you checking this video out. If you're somebody who's been watching these videos for a while, your support means everything, and it helps the YouTube algorithm, the analytics, blah, 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 word salad. Second piece, housekeeping I wanted to share is something that's kind of new, and I'm new to it, and that is partnering with Vinyl Storage Solutions. That's who I get my outer sleeves to the dual pocket outer sleeves, which I love so much. I recently did an interview with Jeremy Ediger from Vinyl Storage Solutions, and through that, they offer an opportunity for anyone watching or listening to the podcast or any of that kind of stuff to save 10% on purchases with them. You don't have to be a new customer for this one. You can be in between sleeves, in between promotional periods. That's usually when I load up and just buy a ton of sleeves, because I'm in the process of sleeving my entire collection with these dual pocket sleeves. But they also have inner sleeves. They actually make sleeves for box sets, UHQR boxes, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, 2 promo codes to save you that 10% anytime, as many times as you want. You can either use VCP10, Vinyl Community Podcast 10, see what they did there, or simply the name of this channel, Concert Buddy, no space in between, Concert, Buddie. They'll save you 10% every time, helps you save money. They're going to be kind enough to throw me a little kickback in the sense that I'm just going to buy some more sleeves. So it's a win-win for everybody around, and I hope you take advantage of it. All right, let's get into the vinyl finds.
Glad to hear it.
So first record I'm going to show, and you may be very unimpressed and very surprised that I already didn't have this in my collection. This is the classic Journey album, Escape. This is something that surprisingly is not in my collection. I found, I've been kind of, it's one of those ones where I knew I could find it any time, and the music didn't have a big call to action, like I have to have it in my collection. But as my maturity in record collecting continues and diversifies, these stinking hype stickers are just another little cherry on top of the sundae. I blame Brandon, Mr. Hall of Fame, JC over at this channel for getting me on this wagon about these hype stickers. So anyway, I saw this I follow a shop out of California called PermanentRecordsLA. They're the shop that actually puts out the Brown Acid series. So I follow them on Instagram. They're a great follow. I'll leave a link below if you're interested in checking it out. But they regularly have used records they post to sell. This was one of them, very inexpensive for me, still in shrink. This is actually a Robert Ludwig cut, because I think this was from Colombia. The lacquers were done at the Santa Maria plant, but the actual pressing was at Terre Haute, but it does have RL in the dead wax, which is always a sign of excellence. So, obviously, you've got Don't Stop Believin', Open Arms, Journey, Steve Perry, legendary late 70s, early 80s band. But to get it in shrink with the hype, could not pass this up.
Milk was a bad choice.
Now, if you've been watching other vinyl community videos from other vinyl community members, I'm sure you've probably seen folks talk about this. This Chet Baker Sings. This is a Tone Poet reissue. This is actually a reissue of the reissue. They've already done a release of this under the Tone Poet series. It sold out before I could get into it. But man, when they announced they were reissuing this was the one I was very interested in picking up, because the aftermarket had really skyrocketed on the Tone Poet release. It was in the hundreds of dollars. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. But this, now that it's been reissued again, I cannot stress enough, this is a must pick up. This is arguably one of my top 5 Tone Poets of the series. Sounds terrific, and I like Chet Baker. I'm not a big Chet Baker person, but this, I mean, between the musicianship, between even his voice, like, I think that, like, the main song that people probably take away from this is like My Funny Valentine. But from an execution, a sound excellence perspective of how they put this to vinyl in the reissue format for the Tone Poets. Not all Tone Poets are created equally, I'm going to be honest, from my experience. But this, straight smoker, before it sells out again, which it probably will, you gotta pick this up. Chet Baker sings, so good. Do it.
Have you ever had the desire to write your initials in wet cement?
All right, the next record I'm going to show is one that's been on my want list on Discogs for over 7 years. Like, for real, for real. And that is the classic second album from Megadeth, Peace Sells, But Who's Buying? Now, used copies of this aren't particularly hard to find. They're hard to find in great condition, I will say that. And I've seen them a time or two over the years and just haven't pulled the trigger because the condition has been kind of soft. Scratches, the jacket's been beat, fill in the blank. However, one of my locals posted this in their socials a couple weeks ago, and I could not call them fast enough. If you ever have a local shop that does social media and does it well, and they show their new finds, flip videos, etc., do not bother responding to them on social media. The best bet is to call the shop, especially if it's something that you've been looking for a long time, like I have been with this title. 7 years. Siete años. Anyway, say, why did you pick up this particular copy? This is arguably the cleanest copy of this record I've ever seen. And my local even said this is near mint. If there is near mint for used records, this is it. And pardon my French, sure as shit, this is a beautiful, beautiful copy. I've seen copies that were pretty beat up, that were still in the shrink, had a hype sticker, but I never pulled the trigger. But this is so good, so good. Great condition, great music. I mean, obviously the title track is a home run, but everything from arguably one of the greatest and most important thrash metal bands, Dave Mustaine and company, chef's kiss, chef's kiss.
A work of beauty, a piece of beauty.
So the last record I'm going to show for this video is admittedly a vanity purchase. This is Pearl Jam's debut album 10, but as you can see, it's not the traditional purple cover. The original release on vinyl was actually not released when the album came out. It came out in the U.S. at least. 1994 was the first U.S. pressing. I already have that one. This is a 1992 U.K. press, and as you can see, it's in the shape of a basketball that says Pearl Jam behind it. It's a picture disc, so I knew going in that the sound quality would be suspect at best. And that's the truth. You don't hear a lot of, at least with this copy, cracks and pops in the music. You hear it in between quiet passages, which is kind of a bummer. But I found myself, as I'm really digging deep into the Pearl Jam catalog, and I have all the studio albums, and I'm starting to pick up some of the live recordings through 10 Club and so forth. This is more of a completionist buy, I'll be honest. But it's really cool. I mean, just from the way it looks aesthetically, it's very unique, really cool piece. And this, like I said, this predates the first U.S. pressing by 2 years. This came out in 92, I believe 10 came out in 91. And this is, I mean, cool. It has them doing, you know, we went to Seattle and they had the Pearl Jam exhibit at the Pop Culture Museum. You could take your picture in front of like this display, the kind of like all-in band photo that's kind of become synonymous with a lot of the early Pearl Jam stuff. But Dusty Groove in Chicago had this, and I've been looking for it. Not 7 years like that Megadeth record. This has been on the want list for about 6 years. But like I said, it's a vanity purchase. It wasn't so much about getting the best sounding, but it was just adding another piece to the completionist piece of my Pearl Jam collection. What can I say?
This should have never been released. It should have never been put into production.
Buddies, that's all I got for this video. Tell me what you think in the comments about these pickups. Were they great? Were they lame? Are you interested in picking up that Chet Baker? Of anything I've shown today that you can get easily, at least as of this airing, run, don't walk to your local store. If they stock Tone Poets, go to online shops. Plaid Room has told me they may restock this one. If you can get it through the Universal, the actual Tone Poet site, do it. I'm telling you, I very rarely try to force anybody to get a record, but this one, you just don't want to miss it. It is done that well. And I don't get kickbacks from I promise you. I'm not paid to say that. But anyway, buddies, thank you for your time. Thank you for checking this video out. Tell me in the comments below what you think. Tell me if you've been listening to the podcast. I always love hearing feedback from you guys. I think it helps to make this presentation better and the stuff that I'm putting out on my channel and on the podcast even better. But until then, buddies, when you get the chance, just spin it. See you soon.
Well, well, well. How the turntables...
Well, we out of time.